Sign over your house or we'll have you declared incompetent. Those were the words my son Benjamin and his wife Stephanie spoke to me last Tuesday afternoon in my living room in Boston. What they didn't know was that this $4.5 million house wasn't mine to give. It belonged to 12,000 children I'd been secretly saving for 15 years, and they were about to find out exactly who their senile old father really was. I stayed calm, looked them in the eye, and said 4 words that would destroy their greed forever. Let me make some calls. They thought they were dealing with a confused 74-year-old man who wasted money on strangers. They had no idea they were threatening the anonymous founder of the largest children's scholarship foundation in Massachusetts. If you're watching this, please subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. This is the story of how I taught my family that respect isn't inherited, it's earned. For 15 years, my son Benjamin had been treating me like I was losing my mind. Every time I helped someone, he'd shake his head and mutter about Dad's charity problem. The first sign happened 3 months ago at Stop and Shop on Beacon Street. I saw Maria Santos, a single mother with 4 kids, crying at the checkout. Her EBT card was declined. She needed $63 for groceries. I handed her a $100 bill. Benjamin witnessed this from 2 aisles away. He stormed over. Dad, you can't just give money to strangers. She needed help, Benjamin. She's probably running a scam. You're too trusting. Maria tried to give me back the change. I told her to keep it. Benjamin's face turned red. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You're being taken advantage of. That night, he called my house 3 times. Same lecture each time. Dad, you need to be more careful with your money. People see an elderly man and they prey on you. The second incident was worse. Last month, I found 18-year-old Kevin Martinez sleeping in his car outside Harvard. His foster family had kicked him out when he turned 18. He had been accepted to community college but had nowhere to live. I gave him $5,000 for a security deposit and first month's rent on a small apartment. Benjamin found out when he saw the bank withdrawal on my monthly statement that Stephanie had been reviewing for irregularities. $5,000 to some random kid. He's starting college, Benjamin. He needs a chance. Dad, this is getting out of hand. First it's groceries for strangers, now you're housing random teenagers. We need to talk about getting you some help. Help with what? Managing your finances. Maybe it's time to consider power of attorney for your own protection. The conversation happened right here in my kitchen. Stephanie nodded along, adding her own concerns. Edward, we're worried about you. These aren't normal spending patterns for someone your age. I'm 74, not 94, but these impulsive donations. Benjamin pulled out a folder. I've been tracking them. 1,500 here, 2,000 there, now 5,000. It adds up. I could have explained everything right then, but I'd tried explaining my philanthropy work for years. Every time, Benjamin dismissed it as Dad being naive or throwing money away on people who don't appreciate it. Your mother would be horrified by this reckless spending, Stephanie added. That stung. My wife, Catherine, had died 8 years ago. She'd actually encouraged my charitable giving. Before her cancer, she'd helped me research which organizations made the biggest impact. Don't bring my wife into this. Someone has to look out for your best interests, Benjamin said. You clearly can't do it yourself. What they didn't know was that every dollar they thought I was wasting was part of something much bigger. The $100 to Maria? She was one of 300 families I'd helped with emergency groceries over the past 2 years. Kevin's 5,000? He was scholarship recipient number 847, but they saw an old man giving away money to strangers. They couldn't see the foundation that had been quietly changing lives across Massachusetts for 15 years. The pattern was always the same. I'd help someone in need. Benjamin would find out through bank statements or witness it directly. Then came the lecture about proper financial management and protecting myself from scammers. 6 months ago, he'd suggested I move to a senior living community where professionals could help manage my finances. Translation, somewhere he could control my spending. 4 months ago, Stephanie started showing up unannounced to check on me. She'd go through my mail looking for what she called suspicious charitable solicitations. 2 months ago, Benjamin announced he was concerned about my mental state and suggested I see a geriatrician for a cognitive evaluation. Last month, they both sat me down for what they called an intervention. Dad, we love you, but this has to stop, Benjamin said. You've given away tens of thousands of dollars this year alone. If only they knew the real number was closer to 3 million. We think you might be suffering from some mild cognitive decline, Stephanie added gently. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It happens to lots of people your age. There's nothing wrong with my mind. Then why are you making these irrational financial decisions? I almost laughed. Irrational? I'd built a $45 million fortune from a small real estate company I started in 1978. I'd donated $42.8 million of it to help children escape poverty. And I'd done it all while maintaining complete financial responsibility. But they saw wasteful spending because they didn't understand the bigger picture. We just want to protect you, Benjamin said. Maybe it's time to transfer some assets into a trust, with proper oversight. That was the first time they'd mentioned taking control of my money. I should have realized where this was heading. I'm managing my finances just fine. Are you, Dad? Really? The doubt in his voice told me everything. They'd already made up their minds. I wasn't a responsible adult making charitable choices. I was a confused old man who needed protection from himself. What they didn't realize was that I'd been documenting everything, every conversation, every condescending comment, every attempt to undermine my autonomy. Because something told me this wasn't really about protecting me. It was about protecting their inheritance. The morning after Benjamin and Stephanie delivered their ultimatum, I met with my attorney, Timothy Walsh, at his office on State Street. Timothy had handled my legal affairs for 12 years. He was also the only person in my family's circle who knew about the Sullivan Children's Foundation. They're serious about the incompetency proceedings, Timothy said, reviewing the legal papers Benjamin had left with me. This isn't just a threat. What exactly are they claiming? Diminished capacity due to age-related cognitive decline. They're citing your pattern of irrational financial decisions as evidence. Timothy read directly from their petition. Subject demonstrates poor judgment in monetary matters, giving large sums to unknown individuals without proper verification or oversight. This behavior indicates potential exploitation by bad actors and inability to manage financial affairs responsibly. They want a court-appointed guardian? Initially, yes. But look at this section. He pointed to paragraph 7. They're requesting to be named as your legal guardians with full control over your assets and medical decisions. The implications hit me immediately. If they succeeded, I'd lose everything. Not just my independence, but my ability to continue the foundation work. What would that mean for the foundation? That's the worst part, Eddie. As your guardians, they'd have access to all your financial records. They'd discover the foundation immediately. And then, they could petition the court to dissolve it, argue that $42 million in donations prove you've been incompetent for years. They could claim you were taken advantage of by the foundation's board members. I felt my stomach drop. 15 years of work, 12,000 children whose lives had been changed, 847 college scholarships. All of it could disappear because my son thought I was too generous. How long do we have? They've scheduled a preliminary hearing for next Friday. That's 6 days. What happens at the hearing? A judge will review their petition and your medical records. If there's sufficient concern, they'll order a full competency evaluation. Timothy pulled out another document. They've already lined up Dr. Harrison Mills, a geriatric psychiatrist, to conduct the assessment. I looked him up. He's known for diagnosing cognitive decline in elderly patients whose families are seeking guardianship. A hired gun. Essentially, yes. What about my own medical records? Dr. Patricia Hendricks just gave me a complete physical last month. I'm in perfect health. That helps, but the court will focus on cognitive function, not physical health. And Dr. Hendricks is the chair of my foundation's board of directors. Exactly. They'll claim bias. I stared out Timothy's window at Boston Harbor. 47 years I'd been building wealth in this city. 26 years I'd been married to Catherine. 15 years I'd been giving most of that wealth away to help children escape poverty. And now my own son wanted to destroy it all because he thought I was too old to make my own decisions. What's the best case scenario if they win? They become your legal guardians. They gain control of your $4.5 million house, your remaining assets, and all financial decisions. The foundation would be scrutinized, possibly dissolved. Your charitable work would end. Worst case? They have you declared fully incompetent, commit you to a memory care facility, and liquidate everything. The foundation's endowment could be seized and returned to your estate, which they'd control. 12,000 children. Hundreds of families who depended on emergency assistance. Dozens of teenagers aged out of foster care who needed housing support. All of it gone because Benjamin and Stephanie wanted to secure their inheritance. Timothy, what they don't understand is that this house doesn't even belong to me anymore. What do you mean? I transferred ownership to the foundation 3 years ago. I've been living here as a trustee, not an owner. Timothy's eyes widened. They don't know? They have no idea. They think they're fighting for a $4.5 million house that I can just sign over to them. Eddie, this changes everything. I know, but there's more they don't know. I had been planning to tell Benjamin about the foundation for months. I'd wanted to include him in the board, maybe even name him as my successor. But his constant criticism of my wasteful spending made it clear he'd never understand. Now, instead of bringing him into my life's work, I'd have to use it to defend myself against him. The stakes couldn't be higher. If I lost this fight, everything I'd built would be destroyed. But if I won, my son might never forgive me for keeping such a massive secret. Either way, our relationship would never be the same. Tuesday afternoon, exactly 1 week after their first ultimatum, Benjamin and Stephanie returned to my house with reinforcements. This time, they brought Dr. Harrison Mills, the geriatric psychiatrist, and a woman introduced as Patricia Coleman from Elder Care Solutions. I was ready for them. "Dad, we need to talk," Benjamin said, settling into my living room like he owned the place. "We're here because we care about you," Stephanie added, her voice dripping with fake concern. Dr. Mills opened a leather portfolio. "Mr. Sullivan, your family has expressed some concerns about your recent decision-making patterns." "What patterns?" "Specifically, your financial choices, large cash gifts to unknown individuals." I stayed calm. "You mean helping people who need help?" "That's exactly what we're talking about." Benjamin jumped in. "Dad, you gave $5,000 to some stranger in a parking lot, Kevin Martinez. He's 18. He was sleeping in his car. You don't know anything about him. I know he graduated high school with a 3.8 GPA. I know he got accepted to Bunker Hill Community College. I know his foster family kicked him out the day he turned 18. How could you possibly know all that?" I smiled. "I asked him." Dr. Mills scribbled notes. "Mr. Sullivan, do you believe giving large sums of money to strangers is appropriate for someone in your financial position? Define appropriate." "Well, most people your age focus on preserving wealth for family members. Most people my age haven't spent 15 years learning how to identify genuine need." Benjamin's face reddened. "That's exactly the problem. You think you can save everyone." "Not everyone, just the ones I can help." Stephanie leaned forward. "Edward, we found something concerning in your bank statements." She pulled out a folder thick with papers. "Over the past 12 months, you've written checks totaling $237,000 to various charities and individuals. And? That's not normal behavior for someone your age." "What's normal?" Dr. Mills consulted his notes. "Typically, individuals in their 70s become more conservative with spending. They focus on legacy preservation." "Maybe I have a different idea about legacy." "Dad, you're being reckless," Benjamin said. "What happens when you run out of money? Who's going to take care of you?" "I'm not running out of money." "At this rate, you will be." Patricia Coleman spoke for the first time. "Mr. Sullivan, I've seen many cases where elderly individuals become targets for exploitation. People tell sob stories and kind-hearted seniors like yourself get taken advantage of." "You think Maria Santos was exploiting me?" "Who?" "The woman at Stop and Shop. Single mother with 4 kids. Her EBT card was declined. She needed $63 for groceries." "That could have been staged," Stephanie said. "Staged? These people scope out elderly shoppers. They target the ones who look sympathetic." I laughed. Actually laughed out loud. "You think she staged her 4 crying children in the cereal aisle?" "It's possible," Dr. Mills said. "Elder financial abuse often involves elaborate scenarios designed to trigger emotional responses." "Dr. Mills, let me ask you something. How much money would I need to lose before you'd consider me incompetent?" "Well, that depends on your total assets." Let's say I had $50 million. Would losing $200,000 make me incompetent? $50 million? Benjamin stared at me. Dad, what are you talking about? I'd said too much, but their assumptions were so insulting I couldn't help myself. Just a hypothetical. No, it's not, Stephanie said. Are you claiming you have $50 million? I'm claiming that $200,000 might not be as significant as you think. Dr. Mills made more notes. Mr. Sullivan, are you experiencing any grandiose thoughts about your financial situation? Grandiose thoughts? Delusions about wealth or status are common in certain age-related cognitive conditions. Benjamin stood up. Dad, enough games. We need a straight answer. How much money do you actually have? Enough. That's not an answer. It's the only answer you're getting today. The room fell silent. 5 adults staring at one 74-year-old man who refused to be intimidated. Patricia Coleman broke the silence. Mr. Sullivan, we're trying to help you, but if you won't cooperate with a voluntary assessment, your family may need to pursue legal options. Legal options. Guardianship proceedings, Dr. Mills explained. The court would determine whether you're capable of managing your own affairs. And if the court decides I'm not, then your son and daughter-in-law would be appointed as your legal guardians. I nodded slowly. I see. Dad, we don't want it to come to that, Benjamin said. But we can't watch you destroy your financial security. And you think controlling my money would help? We think professional oversight would help. I looked at each of them. 5 people who thought they knew what was best for me. 5 people who had no idea what they were really threatening. Well then, I said, standing up, I guess I should make some phone calls. Phone calls to who? People who might have a different perspective on my competency. I walked them to the door. Thank you all for coming. This has been very educational. As I closed the door behind them, I heard Benjamin say to Stephanie, he's worse than we thought. If only they knew how right they were. That evening, I made 3 phone calls that would change everything. The first call was to Dr. Patricia Hendricks at her home in Cambridge. Patricia, they're moving forward with the incompetency petition. Eddie, I'm so sorry. How can I help? I need you to clear your schedule for this Sunday afternoon. Can you come to my house around 4 o'clock? Of course. Should I bring anything? The Foundation's annual report. And maybe call Maria Santos. Ask if she and a few other scholarship families would be available. How many families? As many as can fit in my living room. Eddie, what are you planning? It's time to stop hiding. The second call was to Timothy Walsh. Timothy, I need you to draft a press release. A press release about what? The Sullivan Children's Foundation. 15 years of operations, $42.8 million in donations, 12,000 children helped. Eddie, are you sure about this? I'm tired of being treated like a confused old man who wastes money on strangers. Once this goes public, there's no taking it back. Good, I don't want it to take it back. What about Benjamin and Stephanie? They'll find out Sunday afternoon, along with everyone else. The third call was the most important. I dialed a number I hadn't used in 3 years. Boston Globe Newsroom, this is Sarah Chen. Miss Chen, my name is Edward Sullivan. I have a story that might interest you. What kind of story? 15 years ago, I started a children's scholarship foundation with anonymous donations. This Sunday, I'm revealing my identity for the first time. Why now? Because my family is trying to have me declared incompetent for helping too many people. There was a pause. Mr. Sullivan, can you prove these claims? I have documentation for every donation. $42.8 million over 15 years, plus 12,000 beneficiaries who can vouch for the foundation's impact. 42 million. That's correct. And your family doesn't know? They think I'm a senile old man who gives pocket change to strangers? Mr. Sullivan, this sounds like an extraordinary story. When would you be available for an interview? Sunday afternoon, 4 o'clock. But you might want to bring a photographer. After hanging up, I sat in my study looking at 15 years of financial records, bank statements showing monthly transfers to the foundation account, legal documents establishing the scholarship criteria, thank you letters from families whose children had received help. In my desk drawer, I kept a folder labeled Evidence of Impact. It contained photographs, graduation announcements, and handwritten notes from scholarship recipients. Kevin Martinez, the young man Benjamin thought was scamming me, had sent a picture of himself on his first day of college. His note read, Mr. Sullivan, because of your help, I'm the first person in my family to attend college. Thank you for believing in me. Maria Santos, the woman at Stop and Shop, had written to thank me for the emergency grocery money. She'd included a photo of her 4 children at their school's honor roll ceremony. All 4 had made the academic achievement list. These weren't random acts of charity. They were part of a systematic effort to break the cycle of poverty for children across Massachusetts. But Benjamin and Stephanie saw only the withdrawals from my bank account. They never saw the deposits into young lives. On my bookshelf sat 3 leather-bound journals where I documented every scholarship recipient's progress: high school graduations, college acceptances, career achievements. Some recipients were now adults with children of their own. My phone rang twice more that evening. First was Dr. Hendricks calling back. "Eddie, I spoke with Maria Santos. She's bringing 6 other scholarship families, and Kevin Martinez wants to come too." "Perfect." The second call was from Timothy. "Eddie, I've been thinking about Sunday. Are you prepared for how Benjamin might react?" "No, but I'm prepared for the alternative." "Which is?" "Spending the rest of my life being treated like a mental invalid while everything I've built gets destroyed." "Fair enough. I'll see you Sunday." After hanging up, I walked through my house one more time. $4.5 million worth of real estate that Benjamin and Stephanie thought belonged to me. In reality, the foundation had owned this property for 3 years. I was simply the caretaker. Sunday afternoon, they'd learn the truth about everything: the foundation, the house, and their father's real legacy. I just hoped our family would survive it. Saturday evening, Benjamin and Stephanie hosted their monthly neighborhood barbecue in my backyard. They'd been doing this for 2 years, ostensibly to help Dad stay social, but really to maintain their image as the caring children looking after their elderly father. I usually enjoyed these gatherings, but tonight felt different. Benjamin had invited Dr. Mills and Patricia Coleman. This wasn't a barbecue, it was an intervention disguised as a social event. "Eddie, you've got such wonderful neighbors," Patricia said, watching me flip burgers on the grill. "It must be comforting to have so much support nearby." "Very comforting. Especially at your age when cognitive changes can happen so gradually." I kept grilling. "What kind of cognitive changes?" "Oh, you know, memory issues, poor judgment, financial decision-making problems." Dr. Mills joined the conversation. "Mr. Sullivan, have you given any more thought to our discussion yesterday?" "Which part?" "The voluntary competency evaluation. It really would put everyone's mind at ease." "Whose mind needs to be at ease?" Benjamin appeared beside me. "Dad, we're just trying to help. By questioning my mental capacity in front of the neighbors." "Nobody's questioning anything," Stephanie said, carrying a tray of drinks. "We're just concerned about some of your recent choices." Our neighbor, Janet Morrison, overheard. "Choices about what?" "Dad's been giving away large amounts of money to strangers," Benjamin announced loudly enough for half the backyard to hear. Conversation stopped. 23 neighbors turned to stare at me. "Benjamin, that's not—" "Dad, it's okay. These people care about you. They should know what's going on." Janet looked confused. "Edward, is everything all right?" "Everything's fine." "Is it?" Stephanie stepped forward. "Edward has given away over $200,000 this year alone, to people he doesn't even know." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. I saw neighbors exchanging worried glances. Tom Bradley, who lived 3 houses down, spoke up. "Eddie, that does sound like a lot of money." "We think he might be getting scammed," Benjamin continued. "Elderly people are often targeted by con artists who—" "Stop." My voice was quiet, but everyone heard it. "Benjamin, that's enough." "Dad, these people care about you. They deserve to know you might need help." I set down the grilling tongs and turned to face the crowd. 23 neighbors who'd known me for over a decade. People who'd seen me build a successful business, maintain a beautiful home, and live independently for 8 years since Catherine's death. "You want to know about my money?" I said calmly. "Dad, you don't have to—" "I give away money because I can afford to. I help people because it's the right thing to do. And I'm tired of being treated like a confused old man who doesn't understand his own finances." Dr. Mills stepped forward. "Mr. Sullivan, no one's saying you're confused. We're just concerned about the amount. $200,000. Yes, that's quite a significant— Out of how much? I'm sorry?" $200,000 out of how much total? Dr. Mills looked to Benjamin for help. Dad, what are you talking about? I'm talking about context, Benjamin. 200,000 sounds like a lot when you don't know the whole picture. What whole picture? I smiled. The same calm smile I'd given them during Tuesday's ultimatum. You'll find out tomorrow. Find out what? Who your father really is. The backyard fell silent. 23 neighbors watching a family drama unfold. Benjamin's face was flushed. Stephanie looked angry. Dr. Mills was scribbling notes. Janet Morrison broke the silence. Edward, I've known you for 12 years. You're one of the most thoughtful, intelligent people in this neighborhood. If you're helping people who need help, I think that's wonderful. Janet, you don't understand the scale, Stephanie protested. This isn't normal charitable giving. Define normal, I said. Normal people don't give away their life savings to strangers. Who said I was giving away my life savings? $200,000, Benjamin shouted. That's a huge amount of money. For some people. For anyone. Benjamin, tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock. I'm having a small gathering here at the house. You and Stephanie are invited. What kind of gathering? The kind where all your questions get answered. Dad, why can't you just answer them now? Because some answers require context. Dr. Mills stepped closer. Mr. Sullivan, I have to say, your evasiveness about financial matters is concerning from a clinical perspective. My evasiveness? Refusing to discuss your assets directly, making cryptic references to the whole picture, these can be signs of cognitive decline? I laughed. Dr. Mills, let me ask you something. If I told you exactly how much money I have, would you believe me? Well, that would depend on whether the amount seemed realistic. And who decides what's realistic? Generally speaking, documented assets, bank statements, investment accounts, property valuations. I see. So if I claim to have significantly more money than you expected, you'd consider that evidence of delusion? Potentially, yes. And if I claim to have less, you'd wonder why I was being secretive? Dr. Mills paused. I suppose that's possible. So there's no right answer to your question. Mr. Sullivan, I'm simply trying to understand. You're trying to build a case for incompetency, based on incomplete information and false assumptions. The backyard was completely quiet now. Even the children had stopped playing to listen. Tomorrow at 4 o'clock, I repeated. All your questions will be answered. You'll learn about my finances, my competency, and my plans for the future. Dad, just tell us now, Benjamin pleaded. No, you've made this public, Benjamin. You've questioned my judgment in front of our neighbors. You've brought doctors and social workers to evaluate my mental state at a barbecue. I looked around the backyard. So tomorrow, when I provide answers, it will also be public. What's happening tomorrow? Janet asked. You'll all find out. 4 o'clock, everyone's invited. I picked up the grilling tongs and returned to the burgers. In the meantime, who wants cheese on their burger? But no one was thinking about food anymore. They were all wondering what would happen tomorrow afternoon, including Benjamin and Stephanie. Sunday at 4 o'clock, my living room was packed with 37 people. Benjamin and Stephanie sat on the couch looking confused and nervous. 7 neighbors had come, including Janet Morrison and Tom Bradley. Dr. Mills and Patricia Coleman stood near the doorway with notepads ready. What Benjamin and Stephanie didn't expect were the other guests. Dr. Patricia Hendricks arrived first, carrying a leather briefcase and looking every inch the Harvard Medical School professor she was. She introduced herself to Benjamin as a friend of your father's. Timothy Walsh came next, also carrying legal documents. Then came the families. Maria Santos walked in with her 4 children, all dressed in their Sunday best. She hugged me like a grandmother hugging her favorite grandson. Kevin Martinez arrived wearing his Bunker Hill Community College sweatshirt, carrying a thank you card. 6 more families followed, parents and children I'd helped over the past 3 years, all of them treating me with the kind of respect and affection that Benjamin and Stephanie had never seen before. Finally, Sarah Chen from the Boston Globe arrived with a photographer. Dad, what's going on? Benjamin asked. You wanted answers about my finances, Benjamin. Today you're getting them. I stood in the center of the room and looked at my son. You think I'm incompetent because I've given away $237,000 this year. That's a lot of money, Dad. You're right. It is a lot of money. I nodded to Dr. Hendricks. She opened her briefcase and pulled out a thick folder. Benjamin, I'd like you to meet Dr. Patricia Hendricks. She's the chair of the board of directors for the Sullivan Children's Foundation. The what? Dr. Hendricks stepped forward. Your father established our foundation 15 years ago with an initial donation of $5 million. Benjamin stared at her. $5 million? Since then, he's donated an additional $37.8 million. The room went completely silent. That can't be right, Stephanie whispered. Dr. Hendricks consulted her documents. The foundation has provided scholarships to 847 college students. We've given emergency assistance to over 4,000 families. In total, we've helped 12,000 children across Massachusetts. Benjamin looked like he'd been slapped. Dad, is this true? Timothy, would you please explain the legal structure? Timothy stepped forward. The Sullivan Children's Foundation is a legally incorporated 501c3 charitable organization. Your father has been the sole donor and primary decision-maker for 15 years. How much money are we talking about? Stephanie asked. $42.8 million in total donations, Dr. Hendricks replied. Benjamin's face went white. Dad, where did you get $42 million? I earned it, Benjamin. The same way I earned everything else, through real estate development and smart investments. But I thought you only had... You thought wrong. I gestured to Maria Santos. Maria, would you please tell my son how we met? Maria stood up, her children beside her. Mr. Sullivan helped me when my EBT card was declined at the grocery store, but that wasn't the first time he helped my family. Tell them about Anna's scholarship. My oldest daughter, Anna, received a full scholarship to Boston University through your father's foundation. She's studying to be a nurse. Benjamin stared at Maria. You knew about the foundation? Mr. Sullivan has been helping families in our neighborhood for years. He paid for my son Miguel's summer camp when I couldn't afford it. He helped with our rent when I lost my job during COVID. Kevin Martinez spoke next. Mr. Sullivan didn't just give me $5,000 for an apartment. He's been my scholarship sponsor since I was 16. He paid for my SAT prep courses, my college application fees, and now my tuition at Bunker Hill. You see, Benjamin, I said quietly, what you call giving money to strangers is actually a comprehensive social support system that's been helping children escape poverty for 15 years. Stephanie finally found her voice. Why didn't you tell us? I tried. Every time I mentioned helping someone, you told me I was being naive. Every time I talked about charitable work, you said I was being taken advantage of. But $42 million? Benjamin, last week you told Dr. Mills that I might have grandiose delusions about my wealth. You were right to be concerned. My actual net worth is much higher than you imagined. Dr. Mills stepped forward. Mr. Sullivan, this is quite a revelation. Dr. Mills, you suggested that my charitable giving indicated cognitive decline. I'd like to introduce you to some of the people who've benefited from that decline. One by one, the families in my living room shared their stories. Children who'd received scholarships, parents who'd gotten emergency assistance, teenagers who'd been helped with housing after aging out of foster care. Sarah Chen was furiously taking notes while her photographer captured the scene. Mr. Sullivan, she said, why reveal this now? Because my son and daughter-in-law are trying to have me declared incompetent so they can control my assets. They didn't know about the foundation? They thought I was a confused old man wasting money on strangers. Benjamin looked devastated. Dad, we were trying to protect you. From what? From people taking advantage of you. I gestured around the room. Look around, Benjamin. Do these look like people who are taking advantage of me? A 12-year-old girl named Carmen raised her hand. Mr. Sullivan, can I say something? Of course, sweetheart. Because of your foundation, I got to go to summer camp for 3 years, and my mom got help paying for my glasses, and my brother got a scholarship to college. She looked at Benjamin. Your dad is a hero. The word hung in the air. Hero. Timothy cleared his throat. Benjamin, there's something else you need to know about this house. What about it? Your father donated it to the foundation 3 years ago. He's been living here as a trustee, not an owner. The house belongs to the foundation? Correct. The $4.5 million you wanted him to sign over isn't his to give. Benjamin sat down heavily. Dad, I don't understand. If you have this much money, why do you live so simply? Because the money isn't for me, Benjamin. It's for them. I gestured to the families around us. I grew up in an orphanage. I know what it's like to have nothing. I built wealth so I could make sure other children don't go through what I went through. Stephanie was crying now. Edward, we had no idea. You could have asked instead of assuming. Dr. Mills put away his notepad. Mr. Sullivan, I owe you an apology. This level of organized philanthropy clearly demonstrates exceptional cognitive function and long-term planning ability. Thank you, Doctor. The room was quiet for a long moment. Then Janet Morrison started clapping. Slowly, everyone else joined in. My son and daughter-in-law were the last to clap. Benjamin stood up and walked over to me. Dad, I'm sorry, we were completely wrong. Yes, you were. Can you forgive us? I looked at my son, the man who'd spent years treating me like a confused old fool, the man who'd tried to have me declared incompetent. Benjamin, forgiveness is earned, just like respect. As I spoke with Benjamin about forgiveness, the doorbell rang again. Timothy went to answer it, and what happened next changed everything. 23 more families walked through my front door, parents and children from across Boston, Cambridge, and surrounding communities. Some I recognized immediately, scholarship recipients from years past. Others were newer faces from recent emergency assistance programs. Dad, how many people did you invite? Benjamin asked, his voice barely a whisper. I didn't invite them, Benjamin. Dr. Hendricks did. Patricia stepped forward. When I told our scholarship families that Mr. Sullivan's identity was being revealed today, they insisted on coming to support him. A 16-year-old boy named Marcus approached me. Mr. Sullivan, I'm Marcus Williams. You've been funding my scholarship for 2 years. Marcus, how's junior year treating you? I'm maintaining a 3.9 GPA. I got accepted to the summer STEM program at MIT. Benjamin watched this interaction with growing amazement. Dad, you know all these kids personally? Benjamin, every scholarship recipient gets interviewed by me before selection. I follow their progress throughout high school and college. A woman in her 30s stepped forward. Mr. Sullivan, I'm Dr. Lisa Chen. You funded my undergraduate scholarship to Boston University 15 years ago. Lisa, you were my 3rd scholarship recipient ever. I wanted you to know I'm finishing my residency in pediatric surgery at Children's Hospital. I'll be starting my practice next month. She turned to Benjamin. Your father changed my life. I grew up in a single-parent household in Dorchester. Without his scholarship, I never would have gone to college. More success stories emerged from the crowd. A young teacher named Robert who'd used his scholarship to attend Harvard. A social worker named Catherine who now ran programs for at-risk youth. An engineer named David who'd started his own company and was employing 12 people. Sarah Chen was capturing everything. Mr. Sullivan, can you give me numbers on the foundation's impact? I looked around my living room, now packed with 62 people. $42.8 million donated over 15 years. 847 college scholarships awarded. 93% graduation rate among our recipients. 4,000 families received emergency assistance. Average assistance amount $625 per family. And the success rate for scholarship recipients? Dr. Hendricks consulted her files. 87% of our scholarship recipients graduate from college. 72% pursue advanced degrees. 41% now earn incomes above the Massachusetts median. Benjamin looked stunned. This is like a professional operation. It is a professional operation, I replied. We have a board of directors, annual audits, impact assessments, and long-term tracking of all recipients. Patricia Coleman, the social worker who'd come to evaluate my competency, was taking notes furiously. Mr. Sullivan, this is remarkable. The organizational structure, the outcome tracking, the systematic approach. This represents sophisticated nonprofit management. Patricia, would you say this demonstrates cognitive decline? Quite the opposite. This demonstrates exceptional strategic thinking and execution over a sustained period. Dr. Mills added, Mr. Sullivan, I've evaluated hundreds of elderly patients. What you've accomplished requires advanced planning skills, detailed record-keeping, and complex decision-making. These are markers of superior cognitive function. Maria Santos asked if she could address the room. I want to tell everyone something about Mr. Sullivan. The room quieted. 3 years ago, my husband died in a construction accident. I had 4 children and no savings. I was working 2 part-time jobs and still couldn't make rent. She paused, wiping her eyes. Mr. Sullivan didn't just help with money. He connected me with job training programs. He helped my kids with homework. When my daughter needed surgery, he made sure our insurance covered everything. She looked directly at Benjamin. Your father didn't just give us money. He gave us hope. Kevin Martinez spoke next. Mr. Sullivan, can I tell them about the foster care program? Of course, Kevin. Kevin turned to the crowd. When kids age out of foster care at 18, they usually end up homeless. Mr. Sullivan started a program that provides housing deposits, first month's rent, and job training support. How many kids have been helped? Sarah Chen asked. 236 kids over 8 years, Kevin replied. I was number 237. The impact was overwhelming. Benjamin sat back down, his head in his hands. Dad, I can't believe we tried to stop this. You didn't try to stop it, Benjamin. You tried to control it. Dr. Hendricks pulled out more documents. Benjamin, your father asked me to prepare these for today. She handed him a thick folder. These are the Foundation's financial reports for the past 5 years. Annual budgets, donor statements, impact assessments, and long-term strategic plans. Benjamin flipped through pages of detailed financial data. Dad, this is incredibly sophisticated. Benjamin, I've been running businesses longer than you've been alive. Did you really think I'd manage $42 million carelessly? Stephanie finally spoke up. Edward, the incompetency petition will be withdrawn immediately, Timothy interrupted. I've already drafted the paperwork. But there's more, I said. Benjamin, you and Stephanie were concerned about your inheritance. Dad, after seeing all this, inheritance is the last thing on our minds. Nevertheless, you should know the full situation. I nodded to Timothy, who pulled out another set of documents. Your father has established education funds for each of your children. College tuition, room, board, and graduate school if they choose. How much? Stephanie asked quietly. $500,000 per child. Available when they turn 18, provided they demonstrate good character and academic effort. Benjamin looked up from the financial reports. Dad, why didn't you tell us about any of this? Because every time I tried to explain my charitable work, you told me I was being naive. You made it clear that you thought helping people was a waste of money. We just didn't understand the scale. The scale doesn't matter, Benjamin. The principle is the same whether it's $63 for groceries or $63 million for scholarships. Sarah Chen asked another question. Mr. Sullivan, what's next for the Foundation? Expansion. We're planning to establish similar programs in Rhode Island and Connecticut. Will your family be involved? I looked at Benjamin and Stephanie. That depends on whether they want to be involved. Dad, Benjamin said quietly, I'd like to learn more about the Foundation, if you'll have me. Are you sure? It involves giving money to strangers. Benjamin actually smiled. I think I might be ready to meet some new strangers. The photographer captured the moment when I hugged my son for the first time in months. Dr. Mills approached me as families began to leave. Mr. Sullivan, I owe you a significant apology. I came here believing you might be suffering from cognitive decline. Instead, I've witnessed one of the most impressive demonstrations of mental acuity I've ever seen. Thank you, Doctor. If you don't mind me asking, how did you manage to keep this secret for 15 years? I didn't keep it secret, Doctor. I kept it quiet. There's a difference. Which is, a secret is hidden from people who deserve to know. Quiet philanthropy is simply doing good work without seeking credit. As the last families left, my living room returned to normal size. But nothing else would ever be normal again. Benjamin and Stephanie stayed behind. Dad, can you forgive us for the incompetency petition? Benjamin, forgiveness starts with understanding. Do you understand why I was hurt? You built something incredible, and we treated you like you were losing your mind. More than that, you tried to take away my independence without bothering to learn who I really was. Stephanie wiped her eyes. Edward, we were scared. We thought you were giving away our children's inheritance. Instead, I was securing their future in a different way. We see that now. Good, because respect works both ways. If you want to be part of this family's legacy, you need to earn your place in it. How do we do that? I smiled. By helping me change more lives. The status reversal was complete. The incompetent father had become the family's greatest asset. The wasteful grandfather had become his grandchildren's financial security. and the confused old man had just shown them what real power looked like. Monday morning brought consequences that rippled far beyond my living room. The Boston Globe article hit the front page with the headline, "Secret Philanthropist Reveals $43 million Foundation After Family Tries Incompetency Suit." Sarah Chen had written 800 words about the Sullivan Children's Foundation, complete with photographs of scholarship recipients and their families. My phone started ringing at 7 a.m. The first call was from Benjamin. "Dad, my office is getting calls from reporters." "What kind of calls?" "They want to know about the incompetency petition. Someone leaked the court documents." Benjamin worked at Goldman Sachs, where reputation meant everything. Having your father's incompetency case become front-page news was not good for a career in investment banking. "Benjamin, I had nothing to do with leaking those documents." "I know, Dad, but HR wants to meet with me this afternoon." "What will you tell them?" "The truth, that we made a massive mistake." The second call was from Dr. Mills. "Mr. Sullivan, I wanted to apologize again for my assessment. I've never been so wrong about a patient." "Dr. Mills, you based your opinion on incomplete information." "Nevertheless, I pride myself on thorough evaluations. I failed both you and your family." "What will you tell the court?" "That the incompetency petition should be dismissed immediately. Your cognitive function is exceptional." The third call surprised me. It was Janet Morrison, my neighbor. "Edward, Tom, and I want to apologize for Saturday night." "Janet, you have nothing to apologize for." "We should have defended you when Benjamin was talking about your competency. We've known you for 12 years. We should have spoken up." "You weren't given enough information to make a judgment." "That's just it. We were given information, and we chose to doubt you instead of supporting you." By noon, the story had spread to social media. #Sullivan Foundation was trending on Twitter. Scholarship recipients were posting photos and stories about how the foundation had changed their lives. Kevin Martinez posted a photo of himself at college with the caption, "This man saved my life." While his family called him incompetent, he was competently changing the world. Maria Santos shared a picture of her daughter Anna in nursing scrubs. "Mr. Sullivan believed in our family when no one else would. Anna graduates from Boston University next month thanks to his scholarship." The viral attention brought unexpected consequences for Benjamin and Stephanie. Tuesday afternoon, Benjamin called again. "Dad, Goldman Sachs is conducting a formal investigation." "Into what?" "Elder abuse. They're saying that attempting to declare a competent person incompetent for financial gain violates their ethics policies." "What does that mean for your job?" "I could be terminated, or at minimum, I'll be passed over for partner." Stephanie faced social consequences in our Cambridge neighborhood. Tuesday evening, she called me crying. "Edward, I went to pick up the kids from soccer practice. 3 other mothers turned their backs on me." "What did they say?" "Nothing, that was the problem. They just ignored me completely." "Stephanie, what did you expect?" "I don't know, but the kids are asking why their friends' parents won't talk to me anymore." The consequences extended beyond immediate family. Dr. Mills contacted me Wednesday morning. "Mr. Sullivan, the Massachusetts Board of Registration is reviewing my handling of your case." "On what grounds?" "Professional misconduct, making competency assessments without proper evaluation protocols." "Doctor, I don't want you to lose your license over this." "Mr. Sullivan, I appreciate that, but I violated professional standards. There should be consequences." Patricia Coleman from Elder Care Solutions also faced scrutiny. Wednesday afternoon, Timothy Walsh called me. "Eddie, Patricia Coleman's organization is being investigated by the state." "For what?" "Aggressive pursuit of guardianship cases without proper safeguards. Apparently your case wasn't the first time they'd moved too quickly." "I hope this leads to better protections for other elderly people. It already has. The state is implementing new requirements for competency evaluations." The most significant consequence came Thursday morning. Benjamin arrived at my house looking exhausted. "Dad, I resigned from Goldman Sachs." "Benjamin, you didn't have to do that." "Yes, I did. What we tried to do to you was wrong. I can't work for a company that might fire me for it." "What will you do now?" "I was hoping to talk to you about that." "Go ahead. Would you consider letting me work for the foundation?" I was surprised. "In what capacity?" "Whatever capacity you think I'm qualified for. I want to learn how to do what you've been doing." "Benjamin, running a foundation isn't just about giving away money. It's about understanding people, evaluating need, and building systems that create lasting change. Then teach me. It would mean taking a significant pay cut. Dad, I've learned something this week. Money is only valuable if you're proud of how you earn it. Friday morning, I made a decision that surprised even me. Benjamin, if you're serious about working for the foundation, there's something we need to discuss. What's that? Succession planning. I'm 74 years old. Someone needs to continue this work when I'm gone. You'd trust me with that responsibility? Benjamin, trust is earned, but everyone deserves a chance to earn it. The consequences of their attempted incompetency suit had transformed my family. Benjamin lost his high-paying job but gained a sense of purpose. Stephanie lost social standing but gained humility. And I gained something I'd been missing for 15 years. Family members who understood my values. 6 months later, Benjamin and I sat in the foundation's new office reviewing scholarship applications for the fall semester. Dad, this application from Angela Rodriguez is remarkable. Single mother working 2 jobs, 3.8 GPA, wants to study education. What's your recommendation? Full scholarship plus emergency assistance fund for her family. Approved. Benjamin had taken to foundation work with surprising dedication. He'd spent 3 months learning our evaluation criteria, visiting recipient families, and understanding the systemic issues we were addressing. Dad, I need to ask you something. Go ahead. Do you forgive us for the incompetency petition? I set down the application I was reading. Benjamin, forgiveness isn't the right word. What do you mean? Forgiveness implies you did something to me, but what you really did was reveal who you were. And who was I? Someone who cared more about inheritance than impact. Someone who valued control over compassion. Benjamin nodded. And now? Now you're someone different. Someone who chooses purpose over profit. How do you know I've really changed? Because you're here instead of at Goldman Sachs. Because you spent your own money to move closer to the office. Because you asked Angela Rodriguez about her goals instead of just her grades. Our relationship had new boundaries now. Benjamin earned trust through actions, not assumptions. He participated in foundation decisions by demonstrating judgment, not demanding authority. Stephanie had also changed. She now volunteered at our emergency assistance program, helping families navigate social services and job training resources. Edward, she'd said last month, I understand now why you kept the foundation quiet. Good work doesn't need applause. The foundation continued growing. We'd expanded into Rhode Island and Connecticut as planned. 893 scholarship recipients now, with a 94% college graduation rate. But the most important change was personal. My family finally understood that wealth isn't measured by what you accumulate. It's measured by what you give away. Benjamin's children, my grandchildren, would inherit more than money now. They'd inherit values. They'd inherit purpose. They'd inherit the knowledge that true family legacy isn't about what you leave behind. It's about what you build while you're here. Last week, my 12-year-old granddaughter Emma asked if she could volunteer at the foundation when she turned 16. Why do you want to help, Emma? Because Grandpa Eddie taught me that helping people isn't just nice, it's necessary. That's when I knew our family had finally learned the most important lesson. Respect isn't inherited, it's earned. And the best way to earn it is by earning it for others. Thanks for listening. Subscribe if this story meant something to you, and let me know where you're watching from. Because maybe, just maybe, you're someone who understands that the greatest wealth is the wealth you share.